If Super Bowl week teaches us anything, it's that championships are rarely decided in February alone. They are built months earlier in quiet offices, on draft boards covered in magnets, in late-night film sessions where franchises decide who they are going to be for the next decade. And right now, as the Dallas Cowboys stand at the crossroads defensively, the 2026 NFL Draft is beginning to feel less like an off-season checkpoint and more like a defining moment. This is not just about replacing a coordinator. This is not just about another first-round pick. This is about identity. The Dallas Cowboys enter this new chapter carrying the weight of unmet expectations, defensive inconsistency, and a fan base that knows the window to contend does not stay open forever. The firing of Matt Eberflus closed one door, but it also forced the organization to confront a deeper truth. Whoever walks through the next door as defensive coordinator cannot succeed without elite talent to execute his vision. Scheme matters, philosophy matters. But in the NFL, players decide outcomes. And with the 12 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Dallas may have a rare opportunity to hand its next defensive coordinator the perfect welcome gift. A player so complete, so adaptable, and so fundamentally sound that he transcends scheme entirely. That player is LSU cornerback Mansour Delane. We still do not know the name of the next defensive coordinator in Dallas. What we do know is that the Cowboys cannot afford another transitional year on defense. They need stability. They need versatility. And above all, they need a cornerstone in the secondary, someone who can survive on an island, elevate those around him, and anchor the back end regardless of whether the defense leans man-heavy, zone-oriented, or hybrid. Mansour Delane checks those boxes in a way few prospects in this class can. When NFL scouts talk about scheme-proof defenders, they are talking about players who do not need to be hidden or protected. Players who do not require safety help on every snap. Players whose presence allows a coordinator to be aggressive rather than cautious. Turn on Delane's film, and that concept stops being theoretical. Many evaluators already considered Delane the top cornerback in the 2026 draft class, and that conversation feels justified the moment you watch him play. 2 games alone, against Clemson and Florida, are enough to illustrate why his name continues to rise across draft rooms. In man coverage, Delane is relentless. He plays with the kind of patience and discipline that veteran corners spend years trying to master. At the line of scrimmage, he does not panic. He does not overreact to head fakes or sudden releases. His footwork is clean, balanced, and precise, allowing him to mirror receivers rather than chase them. Time and time again, he stays connected to routes as if he knows what's coming before it happens. There is a phrase coaches love to use when evaluating corners: running the route for the receiver. Delane does that consistently. He stays in phase through breaks, through double moves, and through late accelerations. Quarterbacks are forced to look elsewhere not because the coverage is flashy, but because it is suffocating. Physicality is another defining trait. Delane plays with edge, but not recklessness. He understands leverage. He understands spacing. He understands when to be aggressive and when to trust technique. Most importantly, he knows how to play the ball. Instead of grabbing jerseys and hoping officials look away, he turns his head, locates the football, and attacks it. That skill alone drastically reduces penalty risk at the next level, something the Cowboys have struggled with in recent seasons. What separates Delane from many elite man corners, however, is his comfort in zone coverage. This is where his football IQ quietly shines. He reads quarterbacks well, passes routes smoothly, and adjusts mid-play without losing balance or positioning. He communicates. He anticipates. He understands spacing within the defense rather than focusing solely on his assignment. That ability makes him incredibly valuable in today's NFL, where offenses force defenses to disguise coverage and adapt on the fly. As a tackler, Delane shows willingness and toughness. While his tape does not overflow with highlight reel hits, what you see is reliability. He gets receivers to the ground. He takes proper angles. He does his job. And for a cornerback expected to play significant snaps early in his career, that matters. Of course, no prospect is flawless. The concerns around Delane are well documented and relatively straightforward. At 6 feet tall and approximately 190 pounds, he does not possess overwhelming size. He also lacks true elite track-level speed. On paper, those traits might raise eyebrows. On film, they rarely show up as problems. Delane's coverage instincts, route recognition, and technique compensate for any measurable limitations. He understands positioning so well that he rarely allows speed to become a factor. He plays with anticipation rather than reaction. In a league where separation is everything, his ability to deny it before it happens is what makes him special. This is precisely why Delane makes sense for Dallas regardless of who becomes the next defensive coordinator. If the Cowboys hire a coordinator who leans heavily on man coverage, Delane can be trusted on an island against top receivers. If they pivot toward more zone-heavy concepts, he has the awareness and discipline to thrive. If they choose a flexible, matchup-based approach, Delane gives them the freedom to adjust weekly without reshaping the entire secondary. But talent alone is only half the equation. Availability matters. The NFL draft is unpredictable by nature. Prospect stock rises and falls. Combined performances reshape narratives. Pro days add intrigue. And one strong or weak interview can change everything. Still, early data suggests something important. Mansour Delane is a very realistic option for the Cowboys at number 12. One of the most respected draft projection tools, grinding the mocks, aggregates mock drafts, crowd wisdom, and data science to forecast likely outcomes. According to its current projections, Delane is expected to come off the board precisely at number 12. That places Dallas directly in his path. Could another team fall in love with him and select him earlier? Absolutely. Could a late riser shake things up? Always. But as things stand now, the Cowboys are not chasing an unlikely scenario. They are staring at a plausible, logical, and strategically sound opportunity. What seems far less realistic is Delane lasting into the later teens or 20s. Waiting and hoping is not a strategy, especially not for a team with clear needs and limited margin for error. And those needs are impossible to ignore. Earlier this month, the Cowboys openly acknowledged that the secondary is one of their two biggest priorities, along with linebacker. That admission alone speaks volumes. Trevon Diggs, once viewed as a cornerstone, is no longer a certainty after another difficult year. Darren Bland faces foot surgery for the second consecutive season, raising durability concerns that cannot be brushed aside. This is no longer about depth. It is about sustainability. Dallas needs a cornerback they can build around, someone who can start early, grow quickly, and stabilize a unit that has too often fluctuated between dominance and vulnerability. Mansour Delane offers exactly that. Drafting him would not just address a roster hole. It would send a message to the locker room, a message to the new defensive coordinator, and a message to the rest of the league that the Cowboys understand where modern NFL defenses are built, on versatile, intelligent, trustworthy corners who can survive in space. As the 2026 NFL draft approaches, the conversation around Dallas will continue to evolve. Coordinator rumors will swirl. Free agency will shift priorities. But some truths already feel solid. The Cowboys cannot afford to miss on this pick. And if Mansour Delane is there at number 12, passing on him may be a risk far greater than selecting him. This is the kind of decision that shapes seasons, and sometimes eras. Now we want to hear from you. Would Mansour Delane be the right cornerstone for the Cowboys' next defensive chapter? Is cornerback the priority you would address first, or do you see another direction Dallas should take? Join the discussion in the comments, share your perspective, and if you want in-depth NFL analysis that treats the draft like the franchise-defining event it truly is, make sure to follow the channel. The road to the next Super Bowl is already underway, and we'll be breaking down every step of it together.